Welcome to the lecture of digital signal processing. I am Kanagavalli, assistant professor in the Department of ECE at Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. And topic of today's lecture is IIR filters, this infinite impulse response filters. That's the introduction to IIR filters. The filters are a basic component of all the signal processing and the telecommunication systems. Filters are widely employed in a signal processing and communication systems in applications such as channel equalization, noise reduction, radar, audio processing, video processing, biomedical signal processing, and also analysis of the economic and financial data. The basic functions of the filters are to convert a signal into a prescribed frequency band as in the low pass or either high pass or a band pass filters. And another function is that to decompose a signal into two or more subbands as in the filter bands, traffic equalizers, subband coders, and frequency multiplexers. And another function is to modify the frequency spectrum of a signal as in the telephone channel equalization and audiographic equalizers. Also to model the input and output relationship of a system such as a telecommunication channel and human vocal tract and music synthesizers. So these are some of the basic functions of a filter. Let's see some of the examples of filtering operations. Specific operations are differentiation, integration, Hilbert transform. So these operations can be approximated by the digital filters that are operating on the sample input signal. This is the analysis. We analyze a digital signal processing algorithm by determining their time domain characteristics using the linear difference equation and filter unit sample or an impulse response. Also, by determining the frequency domain characteristics, more generally, Z transform domain using a system transfer function or poles and zeros diagram in the Z plane, and using a Fourier domain, finding the frequency response and spectrum of the signal. To see what is meant by poles and what are zeros. The roots of the numerator polynomial in a transfer function h of z are known as the zeros. So the roots of the numerator are referred to as zeros, whereas the roots of the denominator polynomial are referred to as poles. So clearly here all the poles must be lie within the unit circle for the filter for any discrete time system. The filter specification. Before a filter is designed and implemented, we need to specify its performance requirements. There are four basic filter types. They are low pass filters, high pass filters, band pass filters, and band stop filters. Here, the frequency band where the signal is passed is called as the pass band, and the frequency band where the signal is removed, which is called as a stop band. Let us see in detail of all the four types of the filter. First, we'll see what is the ideal low pass filter. This low pass filter is designed to pass only low frequencies from 0 to certain cutoff frequencies and to block all other high frequency components. So this is the ideal frequency response for a low pass filter. That's the ideal high pass filter. high pass filter is designed to pass high frequencies from a certain cutoff frequency to 5 and block all the low frequencies, and it is a representation of a ideal frequency response. Next is ideal band pass filter. And the band pass filter is designed to pass a certain frequency range which does not include zero and to block other frequencies. Here we can see the representation of the band pass signal. Next is the band stop filter. This band stop filter is designed to block a certain frequency range which does not include zero and to pass other frequencies. So figure shows the representation of the ideal frequency response of a band stop filter. Let's see the ideal filters magnitude response. So the ideal filters are usually such that they admit a gain of 1 in a given pass band where the signal is passed, that is a pass band, and it attains 0 in the stop band where the signal gets removed. So first we have the representation of a low pass filter, then second we have representation of high pass filter, then band pass and a band stop filter. For this magnitude response is represented by mod of h of equals j omega. Let us see phase response of the ideal filters. And another important characteristic related to the phase. This ideal filters admits the linear phase response. H of omega is given as mod of h of omega into equal j phi of omega, where this phi of omega is minus omega into n naught. So output y of omega is product of the magnitude h of omega into the phase response. So these are ideal filters linear phase response. So this is an important property that all frequencies suffer from the phase delays. In some applications, it is critical for this property to hold. So at least approximately it should be attained. Let's see about designing an ideal filter is impossible. In practice, a filter H of n, it needs to be caused to be realized. That is, h of n should be 0 for all the values of n less than 0. By Wiener's theorem, it shows that any causal filter is such that h of omega cannot be 0 except at a finite number of frequencies. Also, the magnitude h of omega cannot be constant in a frequency band. And that the transition from a pass band to a stop band cannot be infinitely sharp. And the magnitude h of omega and phase angle of h of omega cannot be independent of each other. Because of this reason, ideal filters cannot be implemented. Hence, it is necessary to perform some of the approximations. Let's see ideal low pass filter example. So this equation for an ideal low pass filter, it is shown that impulse response is given by hd of n. It is omega c by phi into sine omega c n by omega c n. Here the desired impulse response has a string shape which is a non-constant and infinite in the given duration. Whereas it is cascade is not implemented. Which is linear time invariant digital filters. Thus, linear time invariant filters are a class of filters whose output is linear combination of the input signal samples and whose coefficients do not vary with the time. This follows a linear property, that is a principle of superposition. Here the time invariant implies that the filter coefficient and hence its frequency response is fixed and does not vary with time. In the time domain, the input and output relationship of a discrete time linear filter is given by the following linear difference equation. Where y of n is the output and x of n is the input. This is a linear difference equation. In the above mentioned linear difference equation, here a to the base k and b to the base k are the filter coefficients, and output is y of n, which is a linear combination of the previous n number of output samples, that is y of n minus 1 to y of n minus capital N. So this output y of n is a combination of the previous output samples plus present input samples. The output sample has a sum of previous output samples plus present input samples, where AK and BK are the filter coefficients. The characteristics of a filter is completely determined by its coefficients. For a filter time invariant filter, the coefficients AK and BK are constant that are calculated to obtain a specified frequency response. Now, the filter transfer function h of z is obtained by taking the z transform of the general difference equation. So, before we have seen a difference equation, right? So, for that difference equation, if we take a z transform, we can obtain the transfer function h of z. For this, the frequency response of the filter can be obtained from the above equation by substituting the frequency variable. Here, the same transfer function, we are substituting a frequency variable e power j omega for z variable. In the place of z, we are replacing e power j omega. We are obtaining the frequency response of the filter. And the transfer function of the LTI filter is the ratio of two polynomials, and the variable z and may be written in a cascade form as h1 of z and h2 of z into h2 of z. When this h1 of z is a transfer function of a feed forward and all zero filter, which is given by h1 of z is given as summation k varies from 1 to m bk minus k, and h2 of z is a transfer function of a feedback and all pole filter, which is given by h2 of z is 1 by 1 plus summation k varies from 1 to m ak z minus k. So z1 of z for all zeros and z of z for all poles. This is the filter order. The order of a discrete time filter is the highest discrete time delay used in the input-output equation of the filter. For example, in the difference equation, the filter order is the larger of the values of either n or m. For a continuous time filter, the filter order is the order of the highest differential term that is used in the input-output equation of the filter. The figure shows the block diagram implementation of the linear time invariant filter. So here we are having the non-recursive all zero part. So all zero part represents the numerical part, and here it is a recursive or whole part, a denominator part. So we are having the input x of m and output y of m. In this, within a circle, the flux implies the adder, and the z inverse implies it is a delay element. This arrow mark indicates it is a multiplier. Let's say a non-recursive or a finite impulse response FIR filter. A non-recursive filter has no feedback, and its input and output relationship is given by y of n has summation k vehicles 0 to m dk x of n minus k, where the output y of n of a non-recursive filter is a function only of the input signal x of m. And here, the response of such a filter to an impulse consists of a finite sequence of m plus 1 samples, where that m implies the filter order. Hence, this filter is known as a finite duration impulse response FIR filter. And other names for a non-recursive filter it includes the all-zero filter, or a feed-forward filter, or moving average filter. This is a term usually used in a statistical signal processing. Let's say a recursive or a infinite impulse response filter. A recursive filter has a feedback from the output to input, and in general, its output is a function of the previous output sample and the present and the past input sample, which is given by the equation, where the output y of n is obtained as a sum of the present input and the past input plus previous output values. In theory, when a recursive filter is excited by an impulse, then the output persists forever. So thus a recursive filter is also known as the infinite duration impulse response filter. And some other names of IR filter are feedback filter, pole zero filter, and regressive moving average filter. These are the terms usually used in statistical processing literature. So this filter has a number of poles corresponding to the roots of the denominator polynomial, and it may also have a number of zeros corresponding to the roots of the numerator polynomial. Let's see the comparison between FIR filter and the IER filter. The main difference between the IER filter and FIR filters is that an IR filter is more compact in and in that it can usually achieve a prescribed frequency response with a smaller number of coefficients when compared to the FIR filter. And there is a small number of filter coefficients implies a less storage requirement and faster calculation and a higher throughput. Therefore, generally, these IR filters are more efficient in the memory and computational requirements when compared to the FIR filters. However, it must be noted that an FIR filter is always stable, whereas an IER, that is infinite impulse response filter, can become unstable. With FIR filters are always stable, whereas the IER infinite impulse response filters are unstable. For example, if the poles of the IR filter is outside the unit circle, That time the filter becomes unstable. So that the constant care must be taken in the design of the IR filter in order to ensure the stability. Also, all the IR filters have a non-linear phase, while the FIR filters, the finite impulse response filter, can be designed with linear phase filter or either non-linear phase. So these are the main difference between the IR filters and FIR filters. Let's see the example. The constraints are the speed and the power. The first one to reduce the total number of operations. In particular, multiplication might take longer than addition and take more power to reduce the number. For a fixed point arithmetic, it takes much less area, it is cheaper and faster. The area of a fixed point parallel multiplier is proportional to the product of the coefficient and the data word length. Here the output y of n is obtained. And output y of n is obtained as sum of coefficient a1 into previous output y of n minus 1 is output y of n minus 1 plus product of the coefficient a2 into previous output y of n minus 2 plus the current input here multiplied by the factor b into coefficient b into input x of n. The output is the sum of the previous output samples with the current input sample. The block diagram representation for a direct form 1 is the gender difference equation where x of n implies the current input and y of n implies the current output. And x of n minus 1, x of n minus 2 up to x of n minus 1 implies the previous inputs. Similarly, y of n minus 1, y of n minus up to y of n minus m implies the previous output. And within a box, that inverse implies is the delay element. This is used to store the current sample, and this arrow mark implies the multiplier, and this circle, this plus indicates it is the adder. Then mainly we have three components: adder, multiplier, and a delay element. This kind of representation is a direct form 1. Here, in the left side we are implementing the zeros, whereas at the right side we are implementing the poles. So at the left side we are getting the numerator polynomial, and at the right side we are getting the denominator polynomial, that is the poles. And let's see the block diagram representation of direct form 1. The transfer function h of z is obtained as a product of h1 of z into h2 of z. The question is that how many adders we are using here, and how many multipliers, and how many delays we are using. In order to reduce the number of this delay components, we are going to direct from 1 to direct from 2. In the direct form structure, it provides a convenient method for the implementation of FIR filters. However, for the IR filters, the direct form implementation is not normally used due to the problems with the design and operational stability of the direct form IR filters. The block diagram representation of a direct form 2. There is a change in the block diagram. So Here x of n is your input and y of n is your output. In between the input and the output, here we are representing as a variable w of n. We have interchanged the positions of the adder and the delay elements from the previous. Here we can see this position of the delay elements in the adder are interchanged in the direct form 2. After interchanging the position, we are combining the delay element into a single delay element. So we are also having Z inverse, we are also having Z inverse, so both they are combining together. Here, transfer function is obtained as a product of H1 of Z and H2 of Z. Now, this H1 of Z implies the transfer function for the zeros and H2 of Z for the represents for the poles. Now the output y of n is obtained as a summation of k varies from 0 to m coefficient bk into x of n minus k plus w of n. In the direct form too, so the left side we are implementing poles and right side we are implementing the zeros. Same structure. In the next we can combine the both delay elements together. So we'll get this structure for a direct form too. So here both the delay elements are combined, we'll get a simple structure. So this how many delays we can find means maximum of m comma n. We can find the number of delays. And third type of structure is the parallel filter structure. An alternative to the cascade implementation as described in the previous section is to express the filter transfer function expressed using a partial fraction method. So in the parallel filter, we are using a partial fraction method. In a parallel form, as a parallel sum of the number of second order and the first order terms. Here, we have a general difference equation in that the filter is assumed to have n1 complex conjugate poles and n1 real zeros and n2 real poles, and where k is a constant. So this is a representation for a parallel filter structure. X of m is the input and x of z to hn of z is a transfer function, and y of m is the output and k is the constant. So here the transfer function is obtained using a partial fraction. See the example. For this difference equation, where both the values of poles and the zeros are obtained using a partial fraction. This is example for a first order section, and similarly we have the need to find poles for the second order section like this. This is the parallel structure of the Alias filter. If in this transfer function h of z, this denominator has three roots. The roots are 0.0655 plus or minus 0.5755j, and so here plus or minus, so this two roots, and third root is 0.0492. Next we are recombining the two conjugate roots by using a partial fraction expansion. So the general procedure to obtain a parallel structure is that first step we need to decompose the given transfer function h of z using a partial fraction expansion. After decomposing, we need to combine any pair of the complex conjugate poles to obtain a real value element of hi of z. Then we need to combine such elements further if it is needed. the three main characteristics of the parallel structure. This, this parallel structure are simple to implement. Sometimes it has the advantage over the cascade realization in terms of internally generated quantization noise and is not much tough. Also, the errors of the coefficient quantization of HI of Z, it affects the zeros of the transfer function H of Z. Longer coefficient variance are required to ensure the stability. And zeros on the unit circle in the overall transfer function are N preserved. So, no saving of multipliers can be obtained for the filters having such zeros. So, these are the main characteristics for the parallel structure. Firstly, cascade filter structure. This is the last step. A cascade implementation of a filter is obtained by expressing the filter transfer function h of z in a factorized form. So this is a representation for the cascade filter structure. Here G is the filter gain and the poles are represented by Pk and the zeros are represented as Zk. Both are complex conjugate pairs or the real valued. Here each bracketed term in the previous equation is the Z transfer function of either first order or a second order high IR filter. It is a realization of the IIR cascade structure from the second order section. Let's see the example. Here we have the transfer function h of z. First step we are decomposing into separate terms with the two sections, cascade structure with the two sections, both having a second order section. Then we need to find out the poles for the denominator. For this transfer function, also the denominator admits three roots. Then we need to recombine the two conjugate roots and then again we need to decompose. So the general procedure for the cascade structure is that first we need to compute the poles and zeros of the transfer function h of z, and we need to combine any pair of the complex conjugate poles to obtain a real valued element hi of z. Option is that you can combine such elements further if it is needed. Sensitivity to coefficient quantization is that the filter coefficients are quantized, that is, errors in the coefficient value, it causes the errors in the poles and zero position and hence the filter response. The example for this is given as here we are considering a filter with the 4 poles at z is given as minus 0.9. Again, we call it transfer function. So example for sensitivity to coefficient quantization. First, the direct form filter would have the following denominator polynomial in its transfer function. Then we will cascade of 4 first order sections. In that case, we are assuming an error of minus 0.06. Then here direct as well, here the error minus error is taken as minus 0.06 to the third coefficient, that is 4.86, round up to 4.8. Roots of the resulting polynomials are two values is given here. This filter are unstable. For the cascade, here the error is minus 0.06 to 0.9. So that the cascade has a much lower sensitivity to the cascade structure has a lower sensitivity to the coefficient quantization. Smaller changes So only one group will get affected. So this is the example for the sensitivity to coefficient quantization. Thank you.